All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between Starbuck, who has spawned as the blue human player on the top right-hand side of the map, going up against Lynn spawning on the bottom left-hand side of Northern Isle. Let's go ahead and get to that 2-minute mark of this game, that precious time in the game where we finally see all the action as Lynn going Farseer Headhunters, as known by this build. Meanwhile, going up against Paladin Rifles from Starbuck. Alright, so Paladin Rifle has become a much more popular strategy as of late. Actually seeing play against non-undead players. The combination of Devotion Aura and the additional heal makes it so that the Riflemen are actually dealing large amounts of, can deal good amounts of damage while protecting, while making those heals just that much more effective. You're going to see a little bit of a pullback here. Rifleman does have a little bit of a range advantage, especially over those wolves, as that as that one Rifleman now just trying to absorb a lot of that damage here. Second Rifleman now coming back out of the battlefield, and we're going to see a little bit of an engagement. Are we going to see some resummoning on those wolves? No, we do not. Somehow Lynn able to micro both wolves back at below 50 hit points. Meanwhile, third Rifleman about to get engaged here. Paladin trying to make sure to use a heal only when necessary. Currently, that Rifleman still regenerating and would still be a little bit of an overheal as we are getting ready to engage here. Starbuck not ready, or not realizing that his one Rifleman was about to pop on. Out one more shot does get a kill off there. Continuing to poke around. Are we going to see another little bit of damage here as we are looking at the Paladin looking to engage? We are teching the tier 2 by Starbuck. Meanwhile, Lynn has already teched the tier 2 as well. Both sides doing similar strategies as the Wolf is going to try and get away. Looks like he will be able to do exactly that, as the Farseer really hasn't taken that much damage yet. Right, why'd the sheep cross the road? Well, it didn't really cross the road. It just got hung up in the middle right there, tripping up some of those Riflemen. Coming back around. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I realize I've taken a little bit of break over the holiday season. Well, there was issues with the replays and the versions and the overlays, and people telling me without the overlay, it's just really hard to watch, and I do agree, as I'm spending so much time trying to find out information on the game as opposed to seeing all the micro details that are taking place. All right, Paladin going back and forth. You see two militia and a couple of Riflemen right there. There's another big heal up in the front. Always trying to make sure that that Paladin, that cooldown is ready to go. The Farseer hasn't gotten any kills here. And this is really just a bit of a standoff push going back and forth. Both sides trying to, well, capitalize on some damage. Both sides having some difficulties doing exactly that, as we're looking at the Riflemen currently sitting at, well, no upgrades. And remember, they do not have that range upgrade yet. That tier 2 range upgrade is so incredibly important. And that may be, well, when the Farseer looks to back up. All right. Meanwhile, coming back around, a new Wolf gonna try and test the waters, come inside the base, perhaps go after a low hit point unit, and that's gonna end up happening here. Meanwhile, we're looking at another battle happening in the center portion of the map. There's another Holy Light. Paladin has healed, well, more than 600 points of damage from all of these Riflemen, so pretty much denying there. Meanwhile, low hit point Militia may end up getting taken down. Is he gonna try and back away? No, he actually gets resummoned. No, yeah, gets resummoned right there, as we should be looking at the tech to, long-range rifles. Once that tech to long-range rifles are done, that is going to greatly change the landscape. Meanwhile, the Headhunters are currently outranging the Riflemen. That is the reason why that is happening. Those Headhunters able to outrange those Riflemen right there, maximizing on their damage. Meanwhile, they're going to get into a little bit of a fight here. We can see some gift-wrapped units, and what's going to happen? Paladin does have some experience, so does the Farseer. Both sides still fighting their way through, trying to get some pop shots onto that Farseer. Farseer does retreat back, and that range, once you see that 600 range done, Lynn says, you know what? My time is up. I'm going to go ahead and back away. Meanwhile, back at home, Blood Mage getting trained up here. We're going to see, Torrent Chieftain may try to get in a stomp. No, this is going to be that Endurance Aura, so a slightly faster movement speed. Paladin could turn back around, get a Holy Light onto that Rifleman right there, as we are still seeing this engagement go back and forth multiple times. All right, turning of the tide, so to speak. As soon as that Rifleman range came online, it really drastically changed how far those Riflemen could, well, obviously shoot, and then with that, where the pressure was being applied. Blood Mage is going to try and siphon mana away from this Forest Troll or Ice Troll High Priest, get all the mana it can, also deny a little bit of healing. Paladin now gets up to level 2, also gets a healing ward, as we see the Farseer trying to test the waters in the front. There is an Arcane Tower right here, but it's just outside the range as the Farseer are able to get some easy damage onto that Blacksmith. Alright, Raider gets caught in a transit right there, and meanwhile the Tauren Chieftain is sitting at level 2, making sure that there is no expansion. Blood Mage getting some, or giving some mana to that Paladin, back up as the Farseer, well, spots a Rifleman as the Rifleman tries to do a quick run by. Two Spirit Wolves could make short work of that Rifleman. Tauren Chieftain going to try to make its way over, perhaps get a Stomp off. No, doesn't even have Stomp trained yet. Instead, going for Shockwave. We can see that we are at tier 2, but we don't see any Arcane Towers, or excuse me, Arcane Sanctums or anything like that. A little bit of poke damage here. Scout Towers may need to get repaired. This could be a potential problem, as we are looking at the Paladin trying to, well, do a little bit of creeping away from home. This is potentially a really bad situation. Paladin really wants to get to level 3. Does pick up a Robe of Magi +6 though, so that is going to be some big bonus damage for the Blood Mage, or just more mana capacity for that Paladin. That could be some big news, as we're looking at the Headhunters trying to poke apart this Scout Tower, and they're going to be able to do exactly that. The Tauren Chieftain was able to get down a couple of big shockwaves here, as we're looking at, well, perhaps we're going to see some poke damage onto one Headhunter, but that one Headhunter not going to be a good enough trade for all the damage done by Lyn. Alright, Lyn looking to retreat back here. Level 2 on the human heroes. Meanwhile, level 1, level 2 for Lyn. Things are looking, things are looking unsteady. It really is going to come down to who's able to maximize their damage. Tauren Chieftain going to try and get a Shockwave off. Doesn't get the Shockwave off. There finally gets the Shockwave. Does take down one Peasant. Blood Mage unable to drain enough mana out of that Tauren Chieftain, as we're looking at the, well, Paladin Rifleman army now making its way over to perhaps try and poke apart some of these other units here. There's level 3 on the Paladin, so Paladin gets the damage done. That instantaneous damage is such a big deal compared to the projectile of the Headhunter. Perhaps that was the difference between a level 2 and a level 3 Paladin. Meanwhile, Raiders looking to try to dive in on this Blacksmith here, gift wrapping the Paladin, trying to disrupt the attack, and Orc just playing this harassment game while setting up an expansion behind this. However, quick reveal by the Crystal Ball, and now Starbuck knows exactly what is up and what he has to go up against, as we are still looking at only tier 2. We do have the 2-0 upgrades on these Riflemen, but that is it. There's no, and the long range upgrades. There is nothing else to show that there is upgrades here at all. All right, guard towers, well, farm is going to get destroyed here. That is going to cause some supply blocking issues. Meanwhile, these peasants need to be repairing, but they are not going to repair fast enough, and that gets easily taken down once more. Meanwhile, what is happening here? Rifleman shooting the broadside of a Great Hall will be able to poke it apart pretty easily. Meanwhile, the Paladin, is he going to get gift wrapped? No, he does not. Somehow able to keep it all together, as 3 Riflemen of Starbuck able to stop that expansion before it really gets operational. Meanwhile, armor upgrades getting ready here. Rifleman trying to come back around. You're going to see a little bit of damage here. That Rifleman trying to, well, stay alive, down to 200 hit points, down to 100. You're going to see a Holy Light, but that's not going to be enough. And where are the rest of the units? Are we going to see another Holy Light right there? Yes, there is another Holy Light again. Just trying to get every ounce of hit points out of these units, as we're going to see there goes a Headhunter shot in the back. Beautifully done here, as Starbuck is once more just trying to rebuild that stationary defense to protect the base. Meanwhile, Lyn back at home. Well, we see the Bestiary. We now see the Spirit Lodge getting added in, as the Paladin is just doing a great job just keeping units alive and well. All right. Trying to rack up damage. Are we going to see this Rifleman get shot down? Rifleman going to get another big heal again. Meanwhile, the Blood Mage and And, well, Blood Mage and Rifleman still working together off over here. All right, Paladin does still have a healing ward, and now we're going to see a little bit of a double back around trapping. This could be a potential problem. We're going to see a banish. No banish here. We're just looking at damage being applied to those Spirit Wolves. Now, you finally see an Arcane Sanctum. Thank you for the sub, Blackwater. Well, wasn't even watching that chat over there, but yeah, thank you for the sub. Every sub does definitely help. Thank you for all of the holiday gifts. Greetings, Crota. What's your favorite faction versus faction skirmish to watch / cast? I've got to say, like, recently, even though I still believe Undead has a big advantage in the matchup, I've liked to see Undead versus Human because of the variety that we're now able to see. Before, before it felt like Undead always went for the same exact thing, and Humans always had to go for the same exact thing. But we've now start seeing Lich first in the Undead matchup. We've seen Crypt Lord or Dark Ranger third, and there's just less things that you can predict in the matchup. Also, there always is the threat of well, there's always going to be the threat of, well, there's that healing word that I was talking about, so that's going to be a very big deal to try to counteract that Tauren Chieftain Shockwave. A little bit of damage there, a little bit of damage on the back. We're seeing the walls trying to cave in on this position. We're going to see a Holy Light. There's a Holy right there, but Lyn is just in a great spot. Scroll of Speed right there, as we're looking at a Scroll of Healing being used. Are we going to see a Rifleman? Yes, Rifleman trying to poke down other units. We could see another healing ward placed down here. There's another low hit point Rifleman trying to dance and battle away, and this is the problem with melee units trying to go up against a bunch of range units. The range units can dance around while the other range units are still stationary. There's another big heal right there, and this invincible army is just staying exactly that, as we're looking at the Paladin finally running low on mana. All right, a little bit of damage. Sorceress gets taken down. Blood Mage gets up to level 3. That's going to be a big deal for level 2 siphon mana, but there's not much mana to siphon out from anywhere else. Blood Mage going to go ahead and banish himself. Lightning Shield onto the Tauren Chieftain, Holy Light onto the Blood Mage. Both sides are fighting. Another Grunt going to get taken out right there as a healing ward placed down again. All right, another Holy Light trying to save up these units. Tauren Chieftain needs to get some damage. There's that damage onto that healing ward, but that healing ward did provide quite a bit of healing for all of these Riflemen, and this is just going to be a one-sided battle here. That little bit of additional healing was all it appears Starbuck needed, and now we're looking at a 53 supply compared to 38 supply battle. Another Rifleman, well, round barrage is going to finish off that Raider, and now with the Paladin at level 4, level 2 Devotion Aura means 6 armor on all of these Riflemen. These Riflemen are just going to be so difficult to finish off because of the heals coupled with that base armor there. Sorceress taking an absolute beating, got ensnared, still taking quite a bit of poke damage, gonna back away, but Starbuck gets the win over Lyn. Beautiful, beautiful game right there. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below. But yeah, that healing ward and being able to dance those Riflemen, just absolutely, absolutely key and clutch.